Hey everybody, welcome to another video here on the 67 Mustang channel. So I'm continuing to work on getting the EFI from Holley installed on the car. Now, one thing that goes along with this is ensuring your exhaust is set up right, that you don't have exhaust leaks, you got the bung for the O2 sensor in, and all of that. Now, back a couple of years ago, I replaced the exhaust system on the car when I was working on it because it was part of the gift that my mother gave me right after she passed to get the car back in shape. So I've run into a couple of things and I will talk to you about it, so we'll get to it here in just a second. Okay, so as I was saying, as part of this EFI installation conversion, whatever you want to call it, it's important to make sure your exhaust system is in good shape, that you don't have exhaust leaks, that all of that is set up properly. Now, as I mentioned, I have replaced the exhaust, everything from the exhaust manifold all the way back to the end of the car. Because after sitting for 22 something years, the system that was on there was pretty shot. So, as I said, my mom got me, as kind of her parting gift after she left this world, a bunch of parts to get the car going and running and all that. I've had past videos about that. So I got this kit from CJ Pony Parts. It was supposed to be a complete exhaust, basically all the exhaust pipes. Going from the manifold, it did not include the manifold, but going from the manifold, all the pipes going back, it included the muffler and the downpipe and all that. It was supposed to be a bolt-on kit. 2 years ago, I really didn't know a lot of what I was doing. Now I did, as I said, I also got a new exhaust manifold to put on here because again, the one that was on here was kind of a rotten, rusty mess. And anyway, that was all a whole big. I had the head redone because I broke off bolts. It was a big endeavor, and I put this on, not really knowing what I was doing. So what I want to do is really kind of review the CJ Pony Parts kit, and I'll include a part number in the description below so you know what I'm talking about. And then what I've had to do now that I'm getting ready to put this EFI on here, so hopefully you can miss or skip or take care of, well, where'd you want to look for some of the same problems that I've had. So we'll bring you over here and we'll start at the front end of the car and work our way back. Why don't we do that, okay? So let's go take a look. Okay, so here we go. So obviously we've got the exhaust manifold here. Now, one thing I found is, so let me back up. When I was running the car before I started the EFI conversion, mainly to run it out of gas, empty the tank and all that, I was getting a lot of exhaust smell. So obviously I had some exhaust leaks, and I'm glad that I've started because it forced me to check. I did notice that all of the bolts on the exhaust manifold were not torqued to spec. They had loose. What I didn't do that I should have done when I put the new manifold on here is I originally did torque it to spec, but I never came back and checked. So as it's run, they I guess vibrated out a little bit. So I came back in and I've had to re-torque them all to spec. Now, what I found, for those that may not have dealt with this, so first, if you're using your original manifold, be careful. These bolts that go into here do have a tendency to rust into the head and can very easily break off. That's what I had happen, and that's a royal pain, and resulted in me taking the head to the machine shop, which not bad. I got it all cleaned up and plate decked and whatever, the valves, stems, seals replaced and all that good stuff. They hardened the seats also. Anyway, but a couple things. So first off, to get to the bolt that is under here, I had to loosen up the alternator and get it out of the way. That was the only way to do it. These were pretty good. And then on the very back side, up under, let's see if I can get it. Yeah. So back up in here is another bolt where my fingers are disappearing. Now, I couldn't get a socket, anything on there because of the starter here and this big hump on the starter. I don't know what that is, the solenoid or something. Anyway, so I had to pull the starter off to get back there, tighten all these bolts. I torqued all these bolts down. Next, as part of this, I had to pull all the exhaust pipes off. And these pipes, the three sections. You've got the one that comes here, there's the one running under the car, and then one back of the muffler. Anyway, I'll show those to you later. So I had to pull this out. Now there is a donut, a metal gasket that goes between the exhaust manifold and your exhaust pipe. You will need a new one of those, more than likely. So make sure you get one of those. Also, you can see there's where I've welded in. My arm is kind of blocking it. Let's see if I can get our light down here. Stay, yeah. Come on, there we go. So you can see that's where I've welded in the bung for the O2 sensor. So the O2 sensor is going to go there. If you are getting things set up and you want to drive the car with the car before whatever, do not run the car with the O2 sensor in there and it not be energized. So with it not plugged into the system and having power to it. Everybody tells me you'll burn it up. Okay. So now talking to you about the CJ Pony Parts. The CJ Pony Parts kit comes with 2-inch clamps. This is 1 3/4 inch exhaust pipe if you're running stock, and I'm running stock. So I had to get some additional 3/4 inch, 1 3/4 inch clamps to make it work. I guess the 2-inch would probably clamp down. Now this is just a bracket. Let's see if you can see that back in there. So let's see if I can get a little more light. Yep. So that's just a support bracket, a hanger. It goes back to the engine block right there. So, but that just supports that so this area up here doesn't vibrate out. Okay. So anyway, so that's something to note in there. My wonderful weld job of that. And so now we'll go up under the car and talk about another issue I had with this CJ Pony Parts kit. Okay, so here we are. That's the pipe there. Excuse my catch bucket that I have under here because I've got those transmission leaks. But anyway, there's the pipe up under there that comes from the engine bay and runs back under the car to about where the drive shaft connects to the transmission. Okay. From there, we've got another pipe. It runs back and then up over the axle and then connects up to the muffler. And I'll show you that in a minute. Now, what I didn't know when I first installed this kit in the car was I just thought this should just push in and bolt together and be good. I'd never done exhaust. I've never done anything like that up to that point. I've learned a lot of things over the 2 year and a half or so since I did this. So what I found is twofold. One, that this pipe coming from the engine compartment up there from the manifold back here was too long. It was about 1 inch too long for me. I've seen some people talk about it being more than that it's more like some people have said they've had to cut off to 2 inches. Now what I think is it's because I think a universal kit. I'll verify that, but meaning it'll work on multiple models of Mustangs and probably even Falcons and Fairlanes, and so because of that it's not a perfect fit. So I had to cut off a section of the pipe. Also, the mid pipe here that slips onto the pipe that comes from the exhaust manifold was not wide enough to just slip it in. It was way too tight. I couldn't get it to fit. So I had to go get a pipe expander tool and use it. Matter of fact, let me go get that tool and show it to you. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. So here's the tool that expands the pipe. You literally slide this in and you put a ratchet on here and spin this, and as you spin this, it pulls these wedges in and expands out these bands, so it will increase the size, the inner diameter of the pipe. Now, obviously you can't take the 1 3/4 inch pipe here and turn it into a 2 3/4. It won't expand that much, but you can get it to expand out to, you know, close to about 2 inches or so, enough to get that other pipe slid in to the other one, so they made up together, so you don't have to weld. Now ultimately welding the two pipes together would probably be the better way to go. Not going to disagree, not going to argue with that. You're right. But a tool like this, and I got this from Harbor Freight for 20 bucks. Usually you can also find them at, like, you know, AutoZone, Advanced Auto, Napa, O'Reilly's, whatever, for rent. None of the stores around me actually had one. And just for a stock Mustang with an inline six, you go with the medium size one, not the large one. So the medium size one works fine. So I had to use this in that, where that pipe mates in, to expand it out to accept the pipe that comes out of the manifold. So now let's get back in and looking at it. Okay, so now you've seen that. So with that, so this was the section here that I had to stretch out, was this part right here. And also, not only did I need to expand it, but it was like, this was a bit larger, but it only went out to about here. And so I expanded actually all the way back to here to make sure I had enough room to get the pipe in. So using that pipe expander, I mean, that allowed that to fit right in. Now, I'm going to try to find really quickly here some old, some pictures of the exhaust after I first installed it. You'll also in that see that this was hanging down a good bit more. It was down somewhere, you know, around here. So by cutting that off, expanding that so it really fit in there, it really raised the exhaust pipe back up a good bit, so it's not hanging down nearly as low as it was when I first put it on there. So I've learned some valuable lessons from doing all this and getting it up in there. So got that installed. So let's go back here now to the back and where the muffler is. Okay, so like I said, this kit from CJ. Again, this is that pipe we were just looking at. If we get back up here, you can see where it loops back up and then comes over the axle and then comes down there and goes back to where we were just looking at. So the kit included this, and then again the muffler here, all stock, and then the down pipe right there is all comes pre-welded to the muffler here. So all of this from here through the muffler to here is one piece. And again, I had to use, to get the 3/4 clamps, those were ones I had to buy separate. The kit came with 2-inch clamps, and it only came with like 2 of them, so you need some more in there. But this connection fit just fine and did good. Very happy with it and how it works. Again, welding it probably would have been a better thing to do than the clamps, but I'm happy with the clamps. We'll see. If I have to pull it back out and weld it, that's fine. So the other part of this exhaust kit, well, something else not included with this exhaust kit, I should say, is the, let's see if I can get up in there, the muffler hangers. So the ones that bolt in here like this, goes up into the frame, and then comes down and includes this here where you mount it to the muffler itself. And then there's one on the other side over here, if I can get to it, as I do the crawl across the ground. So you can see it up there, you know, this hanger right here that goes up in there. Those weren't included with the kit either, so I had to buy new ones of those as well. And really the only thing that holds this the exhaust system up is that clamp that I showed you that clamps to that bracket on the engine block where the pipe connects into the manifold, and then these hangers back here, that's holding up the whole exhaust system. So seems to work well, not having any problems. But I did want to point out and talk about this, because if you're doing one of these kits, I'm sorry, one of these EFI conversions, There's a helicopter overhead. That's annoying. And you also, to ensure you're getting the right readings out of your O2 sensor, you've got to have a good exhaust system set up here. So I just want to run you through my lessons learned on this. So with that, I want to thank you all for watching. Hopefully going through this has helped you if you're looking at doing one of these conversions to the Sniper EFI. I mean, having a good exhaust system is never a bad thing anyway. So if you do look at replacing yours using the CJ Pony Parts kit, overall it's not a bad kit. I think it'd be nice if it included a few extra things, but there's that, I guess, balance between having stuff you don't need versus stuff you do need kind of thing going on. Overall, it was a pretty good kit. The pipe, the length issues, maybe that's normal. I don't know, but just cutting that inch off and then using that pipe expander worked fine. Not overly hard. Like I said, I got that for 20 bucks. You can rent that tool often from other auto parts stores. So that, guys, if you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to track the progress of the car as I go through and keep working on it, as well as I throw in periodic other videos, how-tos, as I learn stuff. As I learn stuff. I work on my wife's 2016 Mustang, my 2016 F-150, and whatnot. So anyway, subscribe if you want to learn more, track all that stuff. Don't forget about our merch store. The link is in the description below. So I've got various t-shirts with images of the 67 Stang on it, as well as a few other graphics and things out there. So we got t-shirts, mugs, all that good stuff. So with that, guys, hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope you have a wonderful holiday season. My family's in doing some Christmas decorations as we speak. So with that, guys, I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. Thanks.